In our first story, government has opened up about the current challenges that are to blame for the recent unannounced power outages or power cuts being experienced in parts of the country. It, however, is unable to say exactly when the blackouts will stop. Not every part of Ghana is experiencing these outages, though, which also do not follow a regular pattern. Energy Minister John Peter Amewu explained at a news conference in Accra that the inadequate supply of gas from Nigeria and the inability of Kapa and Sunon Asogli to operate at full capacity has resulted in a deficit in generation of between 50 and 300 megawatts of power at peak times when the most electricity is needed or consumed. Though he assures the situation could ultimately normalize, he is unable to say when exactly.
There were no shortage yesterday, as available generation was 2,611 megawatts against peak demand of 2,330 megawatts. Ladies and gentlemen, today, 26 November 2018, Nigeria gas would start flowing at a low rate of 30 million cubic standard feet of gas, which will ramp up in a few days to about 80. So the system of supply in terms of gas from Nigeria has gradually been stabilized. Our major challenges, ladies and gentlemen, has been the incomplete reverse flow project to allow gas to flow from the east, from the west to the east. As you are aware, we have a lot of gas that's stranded up in the Takoradi area. And there will be a need for this gas to be conveyed through the transportation system to Tema to feed on some of the generators. We have to fast track it through a bypass which has been completed but not connected to the West African gas pipeline yet. This is as a result of the authority which we call the WAGBA, which had not fully come out to agree on the tariff. In an earlier discussions, they intend to put the tariff price at 3.2 MMBTU, while the ministry insists on $1 MMBTU. The discussion has persisted for weeks, but I'm happy to announce that the authority on Friday, November 24th, 2018, the West Africa Gas Pipeline, the regulator, has finally issued a final tariff notice of $1.7 per MMBTU.
He says, though government concedes there is a problem, it is willing to tackle it head on. Ms. Amewu, however, maintains the situation is not as bad as is being portrayed by ordinary Ghanaians.
Anyway, it's very important that Ghanaians must realize that 1 week of power interruptions has drawn so much attention. For us as government, we extremely welcome, Ghanaians' stance on this particular issue. For 3 years, now we know 1 year, 1 week is very key. So it gives us, as people you put in to manage your resources, it puts us in a position to be very alert. And that is why we gathered here 1 week. For 2 years, this country has been off. So it's good, but I can show you that under His Excellency, we want things like this where we want to interact with the public and tell them exactly what is happening. Okay, and that is why we are speaking. We want to give you the assurance that we will continue to engage you and let you know what is happening in the system from now onwards.
Honourable Minister, would it be fair for me to say Dumso is back?
Well, when you put off the lights, you say Dumso, isn't it? In the past 3 years, it was Dumkra. We are not in an era of Dumkra. Okay? The lights may go off as we are witnessing, but I can assure you that long period that we envisage, that our opponent thinks that they want to capitalize on, that period will never come because we are managing the system.
In other news, disaster looms as the Environmental Protection Agency's assessment has established that the Wager Ridge could collapse, with scores of people residing at the Kaswa-Tobu area all at risk. Many people have developed huge structures at the foot of their homes at the ridge. The assessment said the collapse of the ridge could also cut off Kaswa from Accra, as the mud would cover the entire road. This was revealed by the Inter-Sectorial Mining Division of the Environmental Protection Agency. Well, we'll bring you more in this report.
The tour took the team to the Weja Dam Water Treatment Plant and the Weja Ridge. The tour assessed the level of human impact activities to the Weja Reservoir. Director of Internal Sectorial Mining Division at the Environmental Protection Agency, Ransford Sechi, addressed the media.
In 2014, we raised this issue and it got to the national security. Some actions were taken. However, the situation has deteriorated, as we all saw when we walk along the ridge. There are serious erosion which is causing cracks into the rocks and into the earth, some as deep as over 20-30 meters. And unfortunately for us as country, we have residents or people having property just downstream. The fear is that if something is not done, something meaning stabilization of the ridge is not done, there is a potential of this whole thing collapsing to destroy all the properties down this ridge and also to block the entire western corridor.
He commended the Ghana Water Company for implementing a recommendation they gave after their visit in 2014 to cut off unauthorized people from accessing some switches of the company.
At that time when we came, there was mining going on in this area. People were blasting just near the dam, and we felt that it was unsafe. So as part of that, it got to national security and others, and action was taken. As you could see now, everything, there's a security post, everything is in place here.
Philip Ankrach report for JoyNews.
Authorities at the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital say it will require an investment of some 70 million Ghana cedis to replace obsolete equipment at the facility. Some medical equipment at the hospital have exceeded their recommended span of life. Kwesi Debra has the rest of the story.
Chief Executive Dr. Ohineba Usudanso says frequent servicing has rendered some machines ineffective at the expense of good healthcare delivery. For the reason, management has established an endowment fund to cater for the needs of the hospital.
And the assessment that we did brings us to a minimum of about 70 million Ghana cedis for us to retool and to re-equip, especially the accident and emergency center and most of our general wards and the intensive care units. Aside from this, it's to do with our infrastructure gap, for which we are looking at establishing a new diabetes center and then a huge expansion in the psychiatric unit, which is growing by the day. And also, we are looking at also putting up a center to complete it for our own intramural practice, just to assist us to improve on our revenues. And for all this, we're looking for another 50 million Ghana cedis. And all this put together, we require about 120 million Ghana cedis for us to come to a full complement. But we are not going to raise this money just on Friday. We are looking at an endowment fund that is going to run for a minimum of 5 years.
Dr. Usudanso, however, hinted use of the fund will not cover the over 40-year-old maternity block.
And let me add that for the money that we are looking for our infrastructure and service expansion, this does not include the 40-year-old project for the children's and maternity block, for which I must say that His Excellency the President, with also input from Our Majesty Otumfuo, have actually worked very hard. And from the signals we as a board and management are getting, we are hopeful that in the coming year, we begin to see physical signs of reconstruction and continuation of the project to its completion.
Reporter for JoyNews, Kwesi Debra.
As small-scale miners undergo multiple vetting of their licenses, foreign nationals and their local collaborators continue to defy the ban on mining in part of the Ashanti region. Chinese national Aisha Huang, who is currently being prosecuted for mining offenses, persists in the activities, despite the seizure of 2 excavators said to belong to her. Vigorous mining activities are also ongoing at the site she is said to have acquired at the Amansia Central District. Love FM's Erastus Asaridonko decided to visit the affected areas, including forest reserves, and brings us the latest update.
German, Bepotenting and other communities remain under siege of illegal miners despite government's ban, which has been for over 18 months. The destruction is visibly evident in the muddy color of the Oda River. Deep in the forest of the Amansia Central District, miners continue to mount camps and dig for gold. Some of them allegedly work with connivance of people they describe as unseen powerful hands, including politicians and other close relatives. We found fresh supplies, mining equipment and tools here at German. These are freshly dug pits, as you can see. We have 3 excavators sitting over there. We have permanent, temporary accommodation for the people who are working here. We've seen drums of fuel filled to the brim right here on this site. We've also seen other gold mining equipment scattered across this particular site. This is some few meters to the main, the German town as we have seen it. Now we are being told, and from our checks, all channels drop on Aisha Huang as the owner of this particular site. Residents here confirmed our sourced information. This site belongs to the Chinese miner Aisha Huang.
That mining site belongs to the Chinese lady, Aisha. She comes here always. Even today, I saw her vehicle with police escort. She comes usually on Mondays, and the police are always with her. My friends closer to them tell me she pays the police well.
Aisha was arrested last year for illegal mining, for which she is facing prosecution. We are, however, told 2 of her excavators were seized by a national security team in a crackdown here 2 weeks ago. This has done nothing or little to deter perpetrators here on a site linked to her at German. Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaridonko, Kumasi.
And before we go, the Director of the Department of Political Affairs at the African Union, Dr. Kebo Matlosa, is urging leaders on the African continent to rethink their strategy of ending corruption in their respective countries. Ghana, together with many other countries, have over the past 5 years been recording increasing corruption perception among their citizens. Dr. Matlosa, who has been speaking at an AU dialogue on corruption, believes that early training of children to live morally upright lives may be the way to go. Joseph Akable reports from Botswana.
The 3-day dialogue on the theme, Winning the Fight Against Corruption, a Sustainable Path to Africa's Transformation, has delegates from as many as 25 African countries. Botswana, which is the host country, was recently adjudged by Transparency International as the African country with the least corruption perception, handing the country the first spot and 34th spot worldwide. Botswana Minister for Nationality, Immigration and Gender Affairs, Dorcas Makato, tells Joy News the country can still do more to eradicate corruption entirely.
Granted, in the last couple of years, maybe there has been a decline, but the priority is still the same, and our engagement is still the same. All it does is for us to go and look at where the gaps are or where we could have dropped the ball and continue to pursue the fight against corruption.
Some of the delegates who made it to Botswana were required to obtain visas on arrival at a cost of $150. Ghana happens to be part of few Commonwealth countries whose citizens must meet this requirement. Head of Ghana's mission to the African Union, Amachum Amwa, believes this must change.
I know that Ghanaians are not the criminals that they are, they are projecting. Maybe something happened. I don't know what happened. I don't have the full story. But whatever it is, we need to go into it, and then maybe the two governments can have bilateral agreements, and it will be. Because Ghana has free regimes with a number of countries, so I think we can work this out also.
Botswana's Minister for Nationality, Immigration and Gender Affairs has meanwhile been defending the restriction imposed on Ghana.
I know that at Africa level we are talking about less control, but you can't just have open borders without necessarily having the necessary controls that are put in place when people are moving across countries and across borders.
On the fight to end corruption, Director of the Department of Political Affairs at the African Union, Kabeli Matulosa, said African countries must change their strategy.
We need to also think differently. We need to think outside the box. Actually, should I say, we don't need the box at all. Let's throw out the box and think as Africans. Think in a more innovative way.
Some of the delegates who participated in day one of the dialogue shared their assessments with JoyNews.
We had a lot of such sessions today, but the one that really speaks to me is the one on the institutional reforms and assessments. And
far, I've learned about the implementation of activities for corruption, and also I've learned about having our own space as a woman and how best we can be able to tackle corruption.
More, I've been able to learn from best practices from other countries. You know, I've been able to hear what other countries are doing.
The discussion on how to end corruption on the continent will continue on Tuesday. Speakers are supposed to speak on various topics, all forming part of the broader conversation on how to end corruption completely on the African continent. Reporting for JoyNews from Gaborone, Botswana, my name is Joseph Akable.
Well, so that'll be it for the news update. But today we're telling you, we're discussing what we call Scoreboard. It's a new initiative that has been put together by Joy FM Thought Leadership. And the Scoreboard we brought you live from the Labada Beach Hotel, but Mavio Sabwaje, as well as one of the anchors of the show, that's Kojo Yankson, will be live from there. So we're just bringing you a prelude to the Joy FM Scoreboard. So we'll be hearing from ordinary Ghanaians as they assess the Akufo-Addo-led government. We'll also hear some of the promises made by the president and his vice and the rest of his team during the campaign and after they assumed office. And then we'll also bring you snippets of those visuals and those inserts for you to also get to know what they were. But you can join us in the conversation, not only via online, the various social media platforms we have, but also through the phone lines. Please stay with us. We have to do a review of the newspapers next.